In the early 17th century, Magna Carta became increasingly important as a political document in arguments over the authority of the English monarchy. James I and Charles I both propounded greater authority for the crown, justified by the doctrine of the divine right of kings. And Magna Carta was cited extensively by their opponents to challenge the monarchy. Magna Carta, it was argued, recognized and protected the liberty of individual Englishmen, made the king subject to the common law of the land, formed the origin of the trial by jury system, and acknowledged the ancient origins of Parliament. Because of Magna Carta and this ancient constitution, an English monarch was unable to alter these long-standing English customs, although the arguments based on Magna Carta were historically inaccurate. They nonetheless carried symbolic power, as the Charter had immense significance during this period. Antiquarians such as Sir Henry Spelman described it as the most majestic and a sacrosanct anchor to English liberties. Sir Edward Coke was a leader in using Magna Carta as a political tool during this period. Still working from the 1225 version of the text, the first printed copy of the 1215 Charter only emerged in 1610. Coke spoke and wrote about Magna Carta repeatedly. His work was challenged at the time by Lord Ellesmere, and modern historians such as Ralph Turner and Claire Bray have critiqued Coke as misconstruing the original Charter, anachronistically and uncritically, and taking a very selective approach to his analysis. More sympathetically, J.C. Holt noted that the history of the charters had already become distorted by the time Coke was carrying out his work. In 1621, a bill was presented to Parliament to renew Magna Carta. Although this bill failed, lawyer John Selden argued during Darnell's case in 1627 that the right of habeas corpus was backed by Magna Carta. Coke supported the Petition of Right in 1628, which cited Magna Carta in its preamble, attempting to extend the provisions and to make them binding on the judiciary. The monarchy responded by arguing that the historical legal situation was much less clear-cut than was being claimed, restricted the activities of antiquarians, arrested Coke for treason, and suppressed his proposed book on Magna Carta. Charles initially did not agree to the Petition of Right, and refused to confirm Magna Carta in any way that would reduce his independence as king. England descended into civil war in the 1640s, resulting in Charles I's execution in 1649. Under the Republic that followed, some questioned whether Magna Carta, an agreement with a monarch, was still relevant. An anti-Cromwellian pamphlet published in 1660, The English Devil, said that the nation had been compelled to submit to this tyrant Noll or be cut off by him. Nothing but a word and a blow. His will was his law. Tell him of Magna Carta. He would lay his hand on his sword and cry Magna Fata. In a 2005 speech, the Lord Chief Justice of England and Wales, Lord Wolfe, repeated the claim that Cromwell had referred to Magna Carta as Magna Fata. The radical groups that flourished during this period held differing opinions of Magna Carta. The Levellers rejected history and law as presented by their contemporaries, holding instead to an anti-Normanism viewpoint. John Lilburne, for example, argued that Magna Carta contained only some of the freedoms that had supposedly existed under the Anglo-Saxons before being crushed by the Norman yoke. The leveller Richard Overton described the Charter as a beggarly thing containing many marks of intolerable bondage. Both saw Magna Carta as a useful declaration of liberties that could be used against governments. They disagreed with Gerard Winstanley, the leader of the more extreme diggers, stated, "The best laws that England hath, viz. Magna Carta, were got by our forefathers' importunate petitioning unto the kings that still were their taskmasters. And yet these best laws are yokes and manacles, tying one sort of people to be slaves to another. Clergy and gentry have got their freedom, but the common people still are, and have been left servants to work for them." Quote,